Hi, and welcome. Thank you for taking this time today to invest in your own self-care. This practice was put together as sort of a desk work break. The intention is to target some of the muscle groups that tend to tighten up and get rigid when we're at our desk / computer / driving wheel. That's called a steering wheel. Steering wheel too long. And the brain fog that happens when we sit too long. What you will need for this practice is a chair and some kind of strap. So if you don't have a yoga strap, a regular belt or even just the belt off of a bathrobe would work great. You won't need that for now. For now, let's begin on the chair. And please sit just as you normally would when you're working at your desk. And now take a moment to become aware of the shape of your body. The way your feet are placed on the floor. The way your sitting bones rest into the chair. The way your spine is placed. The placement of your shoulders on your rib cage. And finally, the placement of your head over your spine. And you may find the mere act of bringing attention to these body parts, they already start to shift. Without even trying, sometimes your posture starts to evolve and kind of build itself as you bring attention to it. So just notice. And now, remember that you're breathing. And your breath is similar in that often the simple act of paying attention, it too can start to change. And there's often not very much we have to do. The breath itself, it wants to slow down and it wants to open up. So here's what I'd like you to notice about your seated posture today. Sitting requires that a lot of the front body shorten. So start by noticing your hips. When the thighs are brought toward the chest like this, you're in what's called hip flexion. And this can shorten the hip flexor muscles, right here. When we sit and work, like over a computer, the chest can tend to kind of cave in a little bit, which can be tough on the muscles of the shoulders and the upper back. And the last thing that often happens is that places your head forward of the spine, which causes the muscles at the back of the neck to overwork. So those are the three places we're going to focus today to try to put you back together. So let's begin with those hip flexors. So I'm going to have you stand. And now bring the chair in front of you, whether you're on a yoga mat or not. How about with the back of the chair towards you? And that's just going to provide a little bit of support, because this is going to be a bit of balance. This is a high lunge, so we'll begin pretty close to your chair, taking what's called mountain pose. So look down, in mountain pose, we want the feet more or less lined up underneath the sitting bones. So there's a little space between your feet. Lightly touch the back of your chair. And we want to maintain this hips distance stance like you're on railroad tracks as we move into high lunge. So please step the right foot just a little bit straight forward and take a big step back, straight back with the left leg. So you'll notice I'm up on the left toes so that the left knee is pointing straight down, the sole of the foot is pointing straight behind me. Right now I have a little bend in both knees. And then gradually, I'm going to start to move the back leg more towards straight. So the straighter the leg is, generally, the more stretch we're going to feel. Where we're opening right now is the front of the left hip, those hip flexors that shorten when we sit. To increase sensation there, keep that leg stretching back, and at the same time, lift up from just above the pubic bone, lift up toward the sternum. So you're engaging the low belly a little bit as the left leg continues to stream back. Now, that might give you plenty to work with. Those of you who wish to engage a little further, try stretching the left arm forward and then up. Palm is facing the midline, and the left fingertips are reaching away from the left foot. And the last little bit here, if you feel like you would like more and you're up for a balance challenge, take this right hand, encircle the left wrist. Draw that arm first straight up toward the ceiling, and then side bend just a little to the right. See if you can feel the bend coming from all the way down in that left hip. One more breath in, nice and easy. And as you exhale, hug the belly in, come back to neutral with the spine. Release the arms, bring the hands back to the chair, little rock back, step forward, find yourself back in mountain pose. Let's pause. Pause standing, see if you can discern any difference between the side we've stretched and the side we haven't. Okay, light touch of fingertips to the chair. Step the left foot a little bit forward and the right foot quite a bit back. Start with both knees bent. And then gradually over time, start to work the back leg closer to straight. More bent will be a little softer, straighter will be a little more challenging. You may need to squidge the back foot back a little bit to make space. As the right leg continues to stream back, lift up just above the pubic bone, up toward the navel center and the sternum. So the front spine is lifting, back leg is stretching back. If you are getting plenty to work with, stay here for a couple more breaths. Those of you who are game, try stretching the right arm forward and then up overhead. Right fingertips reaching away from the right foot. And then the last little bit, if you're up for a balance challenge, take the left fingers, encircle the right wrist, draw that arm up, and then side bend a little to the left. See if you can feel that all the way down in the right hip. Take a nice, easy breath in. And as you exhale, hug the belly in, come back to neutral with the spine. Release the hands, rock back to step forward. Step the front foot a little bit back. Let's pause again, Tadasana, mountain pose. Hopefully we've somewhat evened out sensation across the hips. So now we're going to move up to the chest, shoulders, and upper back. I'm just going to move the chair just a little bit out of my way. And what you're going to do is find some wall, any wall space that you can stand next to. If I went to my wall, I'd be a little bit off camera. So what if I mime a wall? I'm going to mime a wall very convincingly, I hope. Let's start with the right arm. So the right arm is going to find your very real wall. This is what your hand looks like into the wall. It's spread. The fingers are pointing up, like my peace sign fingers are pointing up. So find your wall, about shoulder height, a little higher. The elbow is slightly bent, and the elbow is pointing down, not behind you, down. And that's going to help to keep that shoulder down, away from the ear. More bend is easier. Straighter is going to be more of a stretch. What I want you to notice is take care that there's no sense of kind of sharpness up here or tingling down the arm. That might be related to nerves. This is a very nerve-rich area. So if that happens to you, take a break and try coming back with more bend in the elbow, okay? So for now, find about where you want to be. Keep your hand pressing like it's super glued into your very real wall, and turn your body away from the wall. So toes, chest, nose, everything turns away until you feel a sense of opening at the front of this side of the chest, to the side closest to the wall. Now we can assist with the other hand. This left hand could come and either gently encourage the muscle to move from the sternum toward the shoulder, either with a kind of sweeping movement like this. You could come in with the heel of the hand and actually give a little press. Or if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you could even take tips of the fingers and kind of press in and circle. It probably won't take very long to find a little tender nugget, a little knot. Found one. And just stay with that for a moment. Less is more. You don't have to push hard. Excellent. Release that left hand. Turn back a little bit towards the wall, and then let this arm just slide down to your side. Roll the shoulder back. Shake the hand out a little bit. And then let your arms just hang to your side for a moment. And I really hope you feel a difference. Sometimes to me, it feels like the side that I've stretched, that arm is actually like an inch longer. Sometimes it feels that way. Okay, so you, with your real wall, you're going to need to turn your body around. Me, I'm just going to grow another fake one over here. So now, other hand, this is the shape of your hand. Peace fingers are pointing up. Palm is spread. The hand is coming now. Just make sure you're doing your other side. I think for most of us, that would be the left now. The hand is about shoulder height on the wall or a little higher. The elbow is bent and pointing down. More bend is probably a little easier. Less bend will be a deeper stretch. Please mind, sharp or tingly sensations, and ease off if you get those. Now, keep the hand super glued into your piece of wall. Turn the body away, so the toes, the chest, the nose, all of it spins away from the wall until you get your first resistance on this left side of the chest. So then take the right hand and you're going to just meet that resistance. And that might be just gentle sweeps from the sternum, breastbone, across the pectoral muscle to the shoulder. Just gentle encouragement to open. Or you can come with the heel of the hand and actually press. Keep the left shoulder blade dropping down the back as you do this. And the adventurous among you might actually take fingertips, take a little walk from the sternum to the shoulder. You probably won't walk very far until you find a tender bit. And you just press in gently and breathe. Less is more. One more breath. And then turn your body back. Slide this arm down off the wall. Roll the shoulder back a little. Shake the hand. And then back to mountain pose, please. Let your arms hang now to your side. And I hope we have evened them out in length. All right, one more standing posture to kind of seal the deal on the upper back, especially that space between the shoulder blades. It just gets so achy. So this is what your strap is for. So grab your strap. I'm going to move the chair a little bit out of my way, and bring the strap behind you like this. So I am holding it in the web here of pointer finger and thumb. It's probably about shoulders distance apart, a little narrower, just something that you can hold the strap nice and taut, so you're pulling it out slightly. You're drawing it back and lifting it a little bit up. As you do so, the elbows are pretty firm. You have balanced inner and outer rotation of the upper arm bones. And then start to think about the shoulder blades coming towards the spine and slightly down the back. And as you do that, the arms lift up again. Keep a little softness in the knees and keep the pubic bone just above the pubic bone lifting up for the sternum, just like we did in the lunge, so that you are not in a back bend. Your pelvis is neutral. This is all upper back, chest, and shoulders. So we have a couple more breaths here. You're welcome to stay just like this. You can even just swing a little bit side to side. Those of you who feel game to try a forward fold here, widen out your feet a little like this. Bend your knees and send your hips back. And as you do, start to bend forward. As the hands go up toward the ceiling, you might find, like me, you need to widen your hands a bit on the strap. Please do what feels good. Let your head go. Let the low belly lay a little bit on the thighs. And for these next couple breaths, on the in-breath, think of the strap drawing up for the ceiling, and on the out-breath, let it draw a little bit in the space over your head. So on the in-breath, the strap goes up, and on the out-breath, it goes overhead. One more. Ooh, that feels good. I feel like I could just stay here, but let's get out. On the inhale, float the strap up. Let that bring you to standing. Roll your shoulders back. I mean, let's be real. If you're just gonna do one of these movements in your desk break, it's probably that one. A lot of bang for your buck, that one. Okay, take a moment. Mountain pose. Just feel where your shoulders are landing. Feel where your chest and shoulder blades are. And let's actually do one more movement before we get back in the chair, and that's downward facing dog using the chair, which is actually just about my favorite way to do downward facing dog, because we take weight bearing on the wrists and shoulders out of it, and you're just left with the lovely lengthening of the spine. So for this, I would have the chair seat probably facing towards you. If it turns out to be too deep a stretch on the hamstrings, you could use the chair back instead. Stand pretty close to your chair. Bend forward until you can take hold of either end of the chair seat. So you can see kind of my ring and pinky fingers are curling around the edge of the chair. Step your feet back until you can pull the hips back. The hips are more or less over the heels. The hips are pulling back and the arms are stretching forward. Let your head just float right in line with your spine. And feel a nice opening, a sense of traction along the whole spine. Please step one foot forward and then the other. Press yourself up to standing. Take a moment. Check in. And then let's sit back down. Drop your chin towards your chest. And feel a little stretch at the back of the neck. And then lift your chin and gently tilt it toward the ceiling. Now the front of the throat is open. Let's do that again. Drop your chin towards your chest. Feel the stretch at the back of the neck. Tilt the chin toward the ceiling. Feel open at the front of the throat. Last time, tilt the chin down. And this time, keep the chin a little bit tucked as you draw the head back. So the back of the head draws back and lifts up. So the back of the neck stays very long, but you feel your head floating back in line with your spine. Notice the sensation of your feet on the floor. Notice the placement of your sitting bones on the chair. Notice how your spine builds itself. How your shoulders rest on the ribs. And how the head floats over the spine. And notice how you're breathing. And please rest your hands over your heart. Thank you again for taking this time to practice together today. You are now ready to return to work refreshed. I wish you an easeful day that is productive in whatever way you want it to be. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.